here's the, here we are. Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, Mr. Haas. We're gonna roll with that as what we call close enough in the business. Got a pretty big day today. Pretty full on schedule today. How about you guys? Our friend here at Deep South is just hired an intern and said there's hope for the music. There's hope for the future of music because his intern is her two favorite musicians or musical artists are Michael Jackson and the Talking Heads, and I've just got the Talking Heads kind of all over my brain this morning, and just I remember those being fond days of highly evolved musical endeavor. You know, the 80s were all about let's see how evolved we can get. And between, oh, anyway, let's. There it is, get that out of there. So let's go ahead and get working. We've got the old metronome here, we'll call him Mr. Metronome, Ms. Metronome, it doesn't matter. So we've got the metronome at 60 beats per minute, and that is done. We have the tuning fork. I use, of course, the tuning fork because I do not use mechanical tuners while I'm engaged with the morning ritual for guitar growth. I see Wild Boar here. That's pretty cool, Wild Boar. What's going on? God first, God bless. Glad to be here. Amen, brother. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the morning ritual for guitar growth, and I definitely share your enthusiasm, and thank you very much. And I hope that you stick around. I hope that if you continue to learn a little bit more about what it is we're on about. And today I wanted to be thankful because it's funny you mentioned it. The first thing I want to do this morning, other than just kind of jamming out in my mind with the Talking Heads tunes, was to be thankful that I'm actually here and I get to play the guitar with you all again today. And it's just such a simple thing to be to be grateful for. I'm going to start first with my breath. And you can join me, please, breathing in through your nose and then let one good one out through your mouth. And we'll go ahead and roll our shoulders up and back. And that will give us that posture sort of that we were looking for. We're definitely looking for that upright and just situation that we find ourselves in. And let's go ahead and start. Now we've got a really great situation here, and we're going to continue to nurture this sucker into fruition. So 1, 2, T, 4. We're breaking the beat into 4 attacks per beat, and so that would indicate, it'd be indicative of 60 beats per minute, 4 attacks per beat. So that's 16th notes we're starting with, and it's a pretty easy pace. If it's too fast for you, you do not need to go this fast. You could use 1 attack per beat and accomplish the same objective. See, that's the beauty of all of this right here. The beauty of this is we can go at our own speeds. So we have this fingers 3 and 4, and I always start right up here where the neck is a little bit crunchy. You know, it's a little bit crunchy. The fingers are close together, and then as we move down the fretboard, as we work our way down the fretboard, we start to manage the stretch. We're managing the stretch. And all the while, even though I'm talking out loud, while I'm sort of walking us through this, I'm guiding us through this morning ritual for guitar growth. All the while I'm focusing on my breath, number one. Second, well, number one is God, right? Number one is the good Lord above. And then number two is the metronome, the breath. Number three is going to be the metronome. All of these things are intended to keep us healthy as we practice and invigorated and inspired to continue doing the good work that we need to do in our lifetime. So fingers 2 and 3 on frets 10 and 12, and here we go. I saw Jill go by. I know Jill's here. Oh, Crazy Train. Yeah, stick around. We'll play some Crazy Train. Yep, that's right. Thank you very much for the recommendation, and thank you very much for being here and taking a minute to, shoot us a line in the live chat. If you're just tuning in, if it's your first time here, firstly, welcome. And this is actually my honest to goodness personal morning ritual. It's my warm-up. And this is how I say good morning to my guitar every day. And I do this, I promote this on the internet. Silly me, who wants to see a fat middle-aged white dude playing guitar on the internet? It's beyond me, it blows my mind. But I think we're looking beyond that. And then we're trying to get to the point where we can transcend the person-to-person thing and really start focusing deeply on our own condition, which is breathing in and breathing out continually, cyclically throughout this whole warm-up process. So we're going back to fingers 1 and 2, and I don't know about you, but I know the people who have been here from the beginning. I know that they are receiving benefits from just playing with the guitar. It has nothing to do with me other than, I just choose to be here every day, every weekday morning at 7:30. And I'm here for 1 hour just working through all of the exercises, being thankful, being grateful that I get to play the guitar every day. Because, some of us don't get to do the things that we love every day. And I even have grown people coming to me and saying, Jason, life is about balance. It's about 60-40. And I'm thinking, 60-40? So 60-40, isn't that that was like a really high grade, I don't know if you remember this, but 60-40 was a really high grade, it was material for garment development and garment growth. So the theory was that you have the cotton, which is comfortable, and then the poly or the nylon, which is sort of durable and rugged and withstands the weather and that kind of stuff, and you'd weave them together in a 60%, 40% sort of weave pattern, and that would create a garment that's very durable, very comfortable, and would shed the environment like rain. So 60-40, I don't know if you even remember what 60-40 was, but somehow 60-40 applies to the life too, where we do 60% of the things that we don't want to do, 40% what we do, or 40% what we don't like, 60% what we do. I'm thinking I need to find a new way to wrap my head around that. If I have to justify spending 40% of my life doing the things that I do not like, I've got to rethink and maybe reframe. I don't need to change anything except for my mind. I need to reframe my mind, my thoughts about why don't I just enjoy what I do, what it is I do. I'm happy to go out and collect garbage, throw it in the truck, and do that for a living. I'm happy and I'm proud to be good at it. And I'm proud to be keeping my neighborhoods clean and the hygiene of the neighborhoods up. It's a wonderful thing just to be proud of every single thing that we do and love every moment. From that moment you grab that cold plastic bag that has condensation on it from that cold morning, and you chuck that thing in the back of the truck in the hopper. Or if you're a rural collector, maybe you're throwing it in the back of the pickup truck with the wooden fence built around it. But either way, I think I can find joy in just about anything. So to me, I want to be closer to, 90-10 or, 95-5 or something like that. I know it's going to bring me to my knees, but I want to be joyful of all of those experiences, and thankful for all of those experiences. So you can imagine how thankful I am to just be sitting here playing the guitar with you in the mornings. It, bring a grown man to tears, how thankful I am. So fingers 1 and 4, let's think about Crazy Train. Are you still here? So 1, 2, T, E. Let me know if you're still here. Is it Tizio? Is that Tizio? Let me see that name. Tizio Kalo. Can you play Crazy Train? Let me know if you're still here. If you're still here, I'll give you some Crazy Train because I'm a big fan of the old Ozman. So 1 E and a 2 do Oh, we've got a low battery going. And 7 and 12. We're just going through the big stretch here. This is the big one. I'm not sure if we've got the Crazy Train request still in the house, so absolutely, R.I.P. Rest in power, Ozzy. Rest in power, man. What a great representation of that part, that segment of humanity that is just so powerful, so in touch with the deep and heavy things of the world, You gotta breathe through this stuff because that will tighten up your hands like crazy. So let's go ahead and do a stretch. We'll stretch right on time here. We're starting with a straight elbow. We're continuing along with the stretch, and we'll go ahead and I guess Tizio didn't wait around. I guess we'll miss Crazy Train for today, and we'll stick on track. We'll stay on the rails today, which is okay with me, and hopefully it's okay with you. And if you wanted to see Crazy Train, maybe I can do sort of a session on it where we could do an acoustic guitar session and just open up a song like Crazy Train for, personal interpretation. Like, how would I play this? If Crazy Train was my song, if I wanted to make it my song, and Alison Krauss is like really great at taking these cover songs and then making them her own. She is just, I know some of us think that she's overplayed and we over-listen to her material, but it's still, the argument stands. Like, she is really, really good at what she does. And that's, to me, that's not an arguable statement. She's really good at what she does. And she makes the songs her own, I guess is my point. So the songs like Crazy Train, they start in F sharp, and you could do F sharp minor, you could do F sharp with major with the open B and open high E string, similar to like what the, what is it? I don't know if it's Wood or Rooster maybe. There's some Allison chains that really kind of, Mr. Cantrell devised some guitar parts that really utilize that open F sharp major chord, but so he's playing an F sharp major chord here, right, with the F sharp major, and then the A sharp, but he's playing like in Lane, Mr. Staley was singing the flatted 3, literally in the same register. They found a way. Just a really really great, dense, nasty sort of northwestern sound. Anyway, that Crazy Train is in a similar situation where it could receive that kind of treatment. So maybe we do a session where we actually just sort of explore Crazy Train, not for what it is, for what it is for us, but what it could be for us if we continued to take it and trust our own intuitions and make it our own. I don't hear a whole lot of covers of that song that aren't direct reflections or verbatim recapitulations of the song. So it'd be kind of fun to just explore that, think about it. 1 E and a 2, here we go. Fingers 2, 3, and 4 on 10, 11, and 12. So, and we're off, you know, we are off like a herd of turtles. Have you heard the band Trampled by Turtles yet? Wild Boar. I figured you'd know something about, a thing or two about AIC. Sap EP. I mean, as if there's no better EP than that, dude. You're watching from North Seattle. AIC is the quintessential grunge sound. Amen, brother. Amen. Raphael, good morning. Heartbreak Station. Oh, jeez. What a time this morning. I just really appreciate you guys being here. And if you're just tuning in, thank you for coming. And I wanted to let you know this is actually my morning ritual for guitar growth, which I do every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. And it's for our benefit. 1, 2, 3, 10, 11, and 12. 1 E and a 2, and you know what to do. And we're just working through the old, we're just like putting the lumber through the mill, you know what I mean? We're just kind of, you know, just sawing it off. We're not planing it, nothing yet, you know, we're just getting it through the mill. So doing the repetitive things that formulate the blocks, the lumber, you know what? We're just making lumber this morning. I think what I'm going to refer to it as making lumber from now on. I've just had that. It's just such a beautiful realization for what it is we're doing. We're making lumber, and the lumber is just sort of ready, and we have it on stock, so we can do with it what we will when we will it to happen. So that's, you know, it's a cool little analogy and analogy, I guess. So we've got lived in Seattle area my whole life. Well, not your whole life yet, huh? All your life up until now, right? What a story. What a story, man. I'll tell you what. We were wearing flannels all across the nation with you guys, you know. That was the banner. That was the banner to wear. I'll tell you what. I still have a couple of those flannels from that time. I have some flannels that are older than my man-child now, you know. Of course, I haven't purchased any new clothing since my man-child was born. You know, my kids were born. So that's kind of an exaggeration, but it's kind of a true thing. So fingers 1 and 2 and 4 on 9, 10, and 12. And then Tom, I don't know if you guys follow Tom Quayle, but if you don't follow Tom Quayle yet, go ahead and give him a follow. He's just a great, you know, family guy, family man, but a super guitar player, just a super guitar player. And he's recently just sort of talking about doing what we're doing here. So we have two functions of the pick, right? We have a downstroke, and then we have an upstroke, and then we have 3 things things going on here with our fret hand at the moment. So we have 3 notes per string. So how do we make this sound sort of flowing and natural when we have 2 over here and 3 over here, and then we have the clicks going over here at 4. So we have 4 attacks per beat. So 1, 2, T-fo, 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 1, 2. So there's a little bit of feel that can be sort of like studied and observed while we're going through these exercises. So these are not to be discounted in any time. I've been playing for a long time and I'm still doing these stupid little exercises, you know. If one of my good friends, Mike, he's a guitar player for a band called Yellow Brick Road. They're very successful. They're touring all over the country, and they tour all over the place. And they just basically are an Elton John sort of tribute band, right? And they just sell out everywhere they go. They sell out. And one afternoon, we were working together for a long time, and the fingers 1, 3, and 4 on 9, 11, and 12. I love telling this story because he's such a great guy. And if you get a chance to see him on stage, wait for him backstage or something, and then just tell him that tell him Garcon said hello. If you see him, I would love this to get back to him. Just tell him Garcon said hello. So if they come to a town near you, if you make it a point to go and see them, tell them Garcon said hello. You're gonna love the show, just to blow your mind. But anyway, we were working together one time, and he said, Jason, because I would show up a couple hours early and warm up, and even though I'm teaching for 7-8 hours a day, and he'd say, Jason, practicing's for people who suck, don't you? And I thought, oh, yeah, that's true. That's kind of partially true. Oh boy. So here I am still practicing all these years later. And thank goodness for people who suck, you know what I mean? Oh. I think there's no other way around it, it's just to be observant of the thing, and that's all. It's just that simple for me. Just to be observant of the gifts that we have at any given moment. The time, the air that we have to breathe. I can breathe on my own, I can play downstrokes and upstrokes. We're using fingers 1, 2, 3, and 4, by the way. I can sit upright on my own. Man, what a great life it is. It doesn't get much better than this. And those are the moments that I think we as guitar practitioners could share. We can help to share with the world that every given moment is as good as life is ever going to get. And if we fail to see that in every single moment, we might fail longitudinally at life, and I'm not really willing to risk that. So, I'm just like, once again, I'm thankful for you being here and that I'm able to be here. I know it sounds hokey, and I'll kind of get off that kick, off the soapbox here, but I wanted to I let all of you know at the beginning of the year that this was going to be an honest presentation. There was going to be no filter, no gap between what's going on in real time, no sort of vanity, no sugar coating, John was a recording engineer. We were working in the studio recording an album, and the recording engineer is a good old friend of mine and wonderful guitar player in his own right. And I wanted to do the track over again, and he said, I can see him through the window, and he's kind of waving me into the control room. He says, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Why would you want to record that again? And I said, well, it's a piece of dung, right? I used a different word, but it's a piece of dung. And he's like, he puts a hand on my shoulder and he says, a sugar-coated piece of dung is still a piece of dung, so just keep it, it's fine. So love what you do, love those joyful noises, you know. And here we go on another kick. So we're going fingers 1, 2, 3, and stretch 4. So again, one of my favorite albums is Born in 2001. Oh man. Hey Wayne, good morning, Wayne McFarlane. Good morning, Jason. Keeping it real, making a difference. I think I'm definitely I feel like I'm making a difference in my own little world, right? And so that's the only thing I can do. I realize I have to keep learning this over and over and over again for some reason, that I'm the only person I can change. I'm the only person I can change. And if there is going to be good in the world, or whatever, let it begin with me, right? And it's so easy to be like angry all the time. It's so easy to find a reason. It's so easy to just be, you know, someone's on your back about you need to redo this job, or you need to, here's your punch list of items to redo, otherwise you're not going to get paid. And then, well, then you realize, well, geez, I can't eat this week until I get paid. And then, I mean, there are real world day-to-day things that really challenge us, you know, health, finance, shelter, addiction. There are some real world problems that we're up against, and you can't legislate those away. You just cannot do it. It's just the cold, hard reality of living in the storm, you know. But am I thankful for the storm? I guess, you know, I guess so. Do I want to be sheltered from the storm? Absolutely. Absolutely. Am I always sheltered from it? Absolutely not. On some strum stuff coming, you know, up at the end of the session. Gotta run, gotta make the donuts. Hey Jill, thanks for being here, and I hope you have a super day, you guitar building person, you. All right, time for a quick stretch though. Time for a quick stretch, and it's always about straightening out the back, getting that breath sorted out. A onesie and a twosie, and I'm putting on my shoesies. Hi ho. Hi ho. Man, Mark, it's so great to have you here, and the gang is just, it's a great gang to be playing guitar with in the morning. So I couldn't ask for a better situation. Just couldn't ask for a better situation. So happy picking, absolutely. Yeah, all right. Happy picking indeed. I don't know about you guys, if your arms are feeling sort of like they're feeling good, they're feeling warmed up. I'm feeling like my arms and fingers are starting to get like warmed up. It feels like, you know, I'm starting to, you know, I'm getting ready for like about quarter past. I want to start looking at some of those tunes from Alice in Chains. There's some tunes from like America that we could talk about too. But let's come back to that stuff. And strum techniques, one size does not fit all, and there's technique in there that you kind of have to agree with yourself to go and find your own sort of technique. What we can offer as sort of like mentors and friends in the guitar, as guitar practitioners, we can offer starting points, but there's no substitution for you spending the time, as you know. So let's continue on with the 1, 2, 3, 4 exercise, the old diagonal pattern. And as you know, we've been also sort of working on absorbing pentatonicism as a friend and ally. You know, a little safe space, if you will, to go on the guitar and find some, I'm going to stay on the top 4 strings, but to find comfort in the pentatonics, because pentatonicism is really where the rubber meets the road for, especially from those, you know, those Northumbrian songs that came over from across the pond and, you know, created a bunch of like American, you know, sort of like fiddle tunes and bluegrass tunes. So let's start on position 9, 4 middle strings now. So the pentatonic scales are very, very important. It's, you know, and is it as important as cereal, you know, milk in cereal? You know, probably. You know, what kind of milk are you using now? Are you using cow milk? God. Of course I'm using cow milk. But do some use oat milk? Do some use, you know? So there are all of these different flavors of pentatonics, and what we're doing to start with is just we're absorbing the basic, the foundational patterns of pentatonicism. I was never did give nothing to the there it is. Yeah, you know what's going on. You heard it? Yeah. There's just so many great songs that are supremely accessible. It really doesn't matter, you know, if we're good at guitar, if we're bad at guitar, how we perceive us, how ourselves, how others perceive us. There's just so much great repertoire on this wonderfully beautiful instrument that comes down to us from antiquity. You know, to think about the history of this instrument, to think that we're able to sit here as an enthusiast, as a you know, I'm going to call it sports, right? Similar to how, you know, you'd go to fly fishing camp as a youngster, you'd call them sports, you know what I mean? Hey, sport, come, let's hit this pattern over here, let's throw this pattern over here, that pattern of water. You know, as we're talking about informing the sport of the environment that we're in, how to read the water, we're also sort of like sports, you know, guitar sports. So as a sport, we're going to start looking at, you know, different things, being aware sort of our environment, I guess. And then sort of, I guess we're looking at pentatonics as the basic, the fundamental, let's use it like the nomenclature or the vocabulary that we use that's specific to playing music or you know, playing melody, understanding harmony. But these are the they're like our first words, right? And we don't need to know the entire scale. We don't even need to ever know any more than the top 3 strings, you know, of this pattern. Because you hear B.B. King and it's like, I don't know, do you need to use more than the top 3 strings, you know? All of the rest is just sort of like, I don't know, maybe it's not really necessary, but for me, I really want to be sort of like I want to have that lumber in stock if I need to build with it. You know, if I need to put an addition on the cabin, or a wall to break the wind that's coming down from the north end, so that I don't get the shingles or the siding blown off my house in the every season during the wind season, you know, or whatever. I just want to be available. I want to have these ready for use, and that's the justification herein, to continue being prepared for whatever might come. You never know when you're on the bandstand, when we're on the bandstand, and all of a sudden the front person, the front man, turns around and says, "Hey, it's your solo," and you're like, you got that deer in the headlights look, and you're like, "Oh no, I didn't practice the solo. What am I gonna do?" And sometimes, you know, we all find ourselves in those situations, and what do? Well, we rely on what we know, and hopefully our ears will sort of like are good enough where it'll lead us through that situation, right? Because it's going to happen to you, and it's going to be sink or swim or whatever. And everybody, you know, we're in fight or flight. You know, we often make it work, right? And we'll make it. We'll get through it. So I wanted to rely on these shapes that I know and love so well, because these work in any genre, in any, like, if you're playing Danny Gatton, if you want to be Danny Gatton, you know, country guitar, alt country, you know, if you're playing with you know, Gillian Welch, if you're playing with Pat Martino, you're playing with Pat Metheny, you're playing with Slipknot, you're playing with Korn, you're playing with America, you're playing Toto or Steely Dan. Like, these scales they all exist in all of these clubs, right? If you're playing with Albert Lee, you're playing with B.B. King's band, you're playing all of this pentatonic, this world of pentatonics exists everywhere. Super important, you know, for me to kind of to remember that. Good morning, Mr. Husband. How are you today? Great to see you. I really appreciate you being here, friend. It's wonderful to see you around. And I'm just working on, we're just getting ready to start working on some strum patterning. I've also been working, I wanted to introduce you to some other I just wanted to work on some of that kind of stuff as well. We might get into that today a little bit, but I want to just kind of continue finishing up with shape number 4 of the pentatonic system. Here we are. And so we have a couple of friends from the north here. We've got Wild Boar from the northwest United States, and then we have our brother Dan from the north, the Great White North. And definitely appreciate people taking the time to come on into the live chat and just spend a little time. And just if you're new here, what I'm doing for the entire year of 2025 is just I'm working on my morning ritual for guitar growth, and it's a little bit larger story. I know Dan's probably heard it. All right, Dan. That's if you want to stick around, if you have some time right now, at 8:15 Eastern time, I'm going in about 5 minutes or something like that. I'm going to start bridging the gap. So what I've discovered as you're popping in and out over this year, what I've discovered since we've really been hanging out together is that the morning ritual, the warm-up patterning for me is like sawing lumber. You know, we're not planing it yet. We're not doing any mill work. We're just kind of like planing it, just making the lumber, the sticks of lumber, and we're stacking it up in inventory so that when we want to plane it and shape it and size it for nominal use, for nominal distribution, then what I'm going to do is I want to know that I have the lumber ready. So the warm-up is very programmatic, and it doesn't change a whole lot over the span of the year, although we're going to continue absorbing new things into our warm-up, accepting them as our warm-up material. The last 15 minutes or so, I tend to work on shifting my mental framework from that of a guitar practitioner warming up in the mornings to that of a guitar practitioner who's practicing and moving from the, practice, and for me, it means moving from the known to the unknown, or taking that lumber, or maybe I know where I'm going. I know I need to put an addition on. I know I need to build a countertop. I know I need to frame this thing out with poplar, and I want to use poplar because it's going to shape easier than pine. And then, for whatever reason, I know I have the lumber ready. Now, in my practicing mentality, I can start planing, run it through the planer. I can start shaping the edges. I can start cutting it to size. I can start actually using the pieces of lumber that I'm maintaining, developing and maintaining the inventory, right? So to me, that's what warming up, or that's what that warm up is. It's not really, something, it's not a trivial moment, right? And so that's why I'm trying to glorify it in my own mind and for in the minds of others over the span of a whole year, right? So if you stick around for a couple more minutes, why don't we go ahead and explore what we can do with pentatonics, that because you're not the first one. This is shape number 5, and I don't know if you have the were you able to download it? I don't know. Let me go ahead and just let me come back. I'll give you the download. I have a download link for you. Dan, Mr. Husband. I have something that I think will be, you'll have to look at the video, go to the video, and in this video, I'm copying the link right now, and if my battery doesn't die before, I'm going to paste this into the chat, and this is for you you can look at the video if you want. It's a nice counterpart, but I think you'll benefit from having the PDF binder. It's free, and you've probably already downloaded it. And if you haven't downloaded it, this is the pentatonic stuff that we want to have. We got it. Good. All right. Excellent. That's the pentatonic stuff that we really, I try not to just get involved in a whole lot of telling people what to do and how to do it. I try to give you the tools that we need. It's like a good employee. You got to give the good employees what they need, I got to have what I need to do my job. And, fortunately for me, what I need is a good metronome, a good tuning fork, a good, reliable day-to-day guitar, operative guitar, and then, a capo. Capos are super important for me. A good set of strings. Easy stuff, But let's go ahead and take a look at shape number 5. So the link is, I believe, in the description of that video. You'll figure it out. It ain't rocket science. You're probably better at the internet than I am. So I'm just walking through the old warm-up. So fortunately for us, I've got the pentatonic down, no issues there. I need to break out of those boxes, gotcha. I've got just the thing. Oop, shape number 5. I have just a question for you. Do you ever use like the dominant 7 sus4 chords? And then do you use pentatonics with those? This is sort of like a mind-boggling thing, but you know, if I'm using, or the, you know, let's just say that we're using shape number 5, right? But let's say that we're using shape number 5, and then we use, I add the 4th and the 7th for flavor. I do dominant 7th, but not sus4. Okay. Hey, I'm Fish. Good morning. We're just talking about this pentatonic PDF. We're on about it. We're going to spend the remainder of this session just sort of advancing our understanding of basic pentatonic framework, right? So I'm taking like one of my favorite chords ever, right? It's from, you'll know what this chord's from. Let me just tune my guitar real quick. Sorry about that. I'm not stalling because I don't know what I'm talking about. Or I could be. I could be stalling because I don't know. It's great, you know, every time Jason tunes, he never comes back to the concept he was talking about. What a sly guy. So let's say we're using A7 sus4, and A7 sus4, of course, is this one. This is a banger of a chord, and it doesn't involve, you know, here's the A7 sus4. You know, this is a great variation of the A7 sus4, A7 sus. We just call it A7 sus, because it's suspect, all right. And then we've got that, you know, that resolution, but we don't always need that. There's a tune called Red Clay. Check out Red Clay, and we're going to talk a little bit about that coming up later on. But Red Clay, go ahead and search for a song called Red Clay, and you got everything that you need to know about sus4 right there. It's like a little masterclass in blue. Hey, Blues is Briars. Good morning. Good morning. So we've got that sus4, and the way the 7 sus4 is built, it's not using the 3. We're using the 1, the 4, the 5, the flat 7, and 1. Right. So which pentatonic system scale works for that chord? Oh man, I've got the answer right here. Let's do shape number. Oh yeah, all right. Let's do shape number, whatever it was. What is this? That shape is great. It's not the only pentatonic shape that works over this particular scale or chord, but it fits the bill because we have the 1, the 2, the 4, and then the 5, and then the flat 7, and the 1, and then the 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, or the 9. But we've got to hear the A note as the bass note instead of. You know, we're trying to get away from that sort of like. What is that? Something like. All right, let's get away from that sound. And let's start using the 7 sus4 as an alternative expression to pentatonicism. So what this does is it gets us away from the, you know, the street cry, you know, get your bread, oh yeah, oh yeah, or get your newspaper, you know. Get your bread, it's for sale, oh yeah. And then you get those street cries and the street vendors, you know, from days gone by, and that's all typically what we associate with American pentatonics, right? American pentatonicism is what brand is the guitar? The guitar is the Martin DX2E, and I told you all once we started doing this, like, you know, it'd become a more popular guitar over the span of the year, and I guess we were right, because now Mr. Billy Strings is endorsed with one of these suckers. It's a little workhorse that just it's the little engine that could, you know. I'll tell you what, you can just smack through brick walls with this thing. It could be a boat paddle, it could be anything you want it to be. But so I'm looking at the 7 sus4. Then I'm looking at what am I going to do with the rhythm. So I've got a 1, 2, 3, a 1, 2, 4, 5, flat 7, 1. And I know we're used to hearing that flat 3 in there. And that's going to be a real problem for us to get over, right? So it's going to be a real adjustment, you know. That, you know, is, you know. That's a very vanilla sort of country thing. The blues thing would be, you know, if we were playing that, pulling on that flatted 3. Two completely different schools of thought, right? So the trick here is to remember that we're using the A7 sus, and I've got the flat 7, so I'm just going to create a little groove for myself, really simple groove. So I'm thinking, you know, what chord could I use? I could use the G chord there. I've got to use the sus4 though, you know, everywhere that I would have used the 3. So I've got to keep it sus. Why don't we just keep it simple? We'll use this position here. 1, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 5. And then we have the 5, 7, flat 7, 1. And then the 5, 7, 1. Keep that thing in our minds, that unless you have a looping pedal, unless you can record that background and let it loop behind you, I would highly recommend a looper. And the Headrush Flex Prime is what I've been using recently for my looper because it gives me access to other tones. So the Headrush Flex Prime, I'll link it into the video for future reference if you need one. But we have this nice some time, you know, generating the groove, because this is important. It's got to be a feel thing. And I'm working on hitting the root note, and then I'm going to the flat 7 to the 5. So those resolutions are going to be different because we're going to be looking for that flat 3. We won't be able to see the flat 3 is nowhere to be found. So we're stuck sort of in this stasis. We're using the pentatonic system, but in a different sort of way. Challenge you to, you know, don't play the flat 3. I know it's going to be like just really satisfying. We're going to want to play the flat 3, but I would recommend just omit it for the sake of exercise and personal discipline. And then we can also sort of start we've got one, a flat 7, 1, and then we have the 2. I was using the flat 3. You got me. Busted, you know? And then 4, 5, flat 7 and 1, and then we have comfortable. It's not super comfy to do it, but it is super important to sing what we're playing. Super important. So if what we're trying to do is we're trying to absorb what's happening here harmonically and create new licks. You know, we have the junk like that. We have all of those licks that sort of already live in the hands with minor pentatonic, and that's sort of why we feel sort of stuck. There's like, you know, you see these other paths, we're like, geez, I've got to be home for dinner in a few hours. I don't really know where that path leads, you know, could lead me into trouble. And I stay on the beaten path, you know. So this is a safer way to sort of explore new sounds, because we've already basically absorbed all 5 of the pentatonic shapes. And if you haven't, you can go back through the live chat, download that PDF binder in the link I shared earlier. But you can, I would highly recommend, even if you got your chops together in pentatonic, there's some notes in there. It's a 6-page binder. There's some stuff in there that will definitely help encourage us to think outside of the boxes that we all know and love so well. But just taking the chord for what it is, the composition of the scale, you can see I'm still trying to play that flat 3. I'm still working on singing these notes, so I'm going to start singing do, re, fa, sol, te, do, re, do, re, do. On sort of just work in just little pieces and work on building new licks, you know. So here we go. I think we'll end there because I see Kevin has come up for some air, and I appreciate it, Kevin. Kevin says, have a great day, everyone. Until tomorrow. Great lesson, Jason. Thanks. Well, thank you, Kevin, again for being here with all of us and keeping the bright and merry and cheerful tone in the live chat. Thank you so much for doing all that work, Kevin. Your presence is felt. Robbie, thank you very much for being here. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And until tomorrow, I wish you all, Mr. Fish, have a solid day. I think we're wrapping, and until tomorrow, you can always, if you wanted to continue the discussion, you can always reach me anytime you would like at GROW at jasoncareyguitar.com, and we can develop a little kind of continuity there. That's totally cool if you'd like to do that. And we do answer all of our emails. We do answer those. So jasoncareyguitar.com if you'd like to interface with us there. But don't hesitate. Happy to be here, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Until we meet again, I wish you all very happy picking.